Suspiria is definitely like a fairy tale. That's
I
the
didn't
way
think
I
about
always
it
perceive
like
it.
that.
It's almost like Alice in Wonderland to some degree. The second she comes out of the airport and she starts walking towards the door, and then the goblin scores, which I know you're a huge fan of.
Oh, well, we're gonna meet a little more in the middle.
And then bling, it goes quiet. And then the second she passes through the door, and then there's a close-up on the motor of the door, shh, and then boom, she's into a new reality. The wind is blowing, the rain is falling. She gets in the cab, you got blue, red. I don't remember exactly how it goes, but basically transitions from her to then the lights in the tunnel. So it really is the second she comes out of the airport, boom, she's a different world.
What's your favorite scary movie?
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Hi, I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend to the end.
This is my boomstick!
Swallow this.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Arrow in the Head Show. Of course, my name is Lance, and my other host, the Arrow himself, Mr. John Fallon. John, it's good to see you again, buddy. How you been?
Pretty much finishing, putting the finishing touches on my thriller Break, kind of after the American film market where the film was shown to buyers. It gave me the opportunity to go back in the edit. So
Oh, cool.
I snipped out like 3 minutes out of the film and back into sound design and score. So I'm like inches away from being done. So I'm pretty happy. And of course, I'm always happy to see you, Lance, you bald prick.
I'm still here. Well, one question. Who, our friend Rurik from last episode, the Warlock 2, he's your composer, correct?
Yes, he's a composer.
Okay, cool. I'm just trying to remember if I was correct. Awesome. Well, excited to hear it.
Yeah.
He's a fun guest. So
No, Rurik's great, man.
but no, I'm doing good, man. But who cares about me when I think there's some more important thing to talk about? It's a serious issue. What are you drinking?
Oh. Little wild child today. Bingo. Absolute vodka
Okay. And
with
what?
cranberry juice. Because the figure.
It is. But I mean, I drink them too, actually, sometimes at the bar, like if I'm trying to like just kind of chill out and have a couple. Like I'll have a couple of those.
Look,
I don't
if
like
you
to drink
do
like pop,
vodka orange juice, a lot of sugar in orange juice. So I actually Googled it, the drink with the least calories. And it was vodka and cranberry, not cranberry like filled with added sugar.
Yeah, well, sugar is what's going to fucking bloat you up anyway, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm doing this for my figure, man. That's it. I want to look sexy.
Hey, I hit the gym 5 days a week, so I'm with you.
Look at this guy, man. How come there's no progress so far? What's happening?
So it's a wide angle camera lens, buddy.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well played, sir.
But so I went to, I got an old school beer, man, when I used to drink in my early 20s. Haven't had it in a while. It's the Dogfish 90 minutes. I got rid of the bottle, so I can't show it to you, but I'll put a picture up.
Awesome, my man. Well, cheers to you. Cheers to all of you.
Hello, my friends! Hey!
I need more cranberry.
That nice vodka taste.
Yeah, little bite.
Well, it's a house pour. What do you charge yourself? You add a little extra. It's good,
Yeah, I know.
But hey, man, let's get down to brass tacks.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to head up to Europe and talk about one of your favorite films.
Yes.
Which would be 1977's Suspiria.
But directed by the great Dario Argento.
Italian director, yeah.
So it was, and actually, I think you're a fan of the remake, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Directed by Lucas. Is that his name?
It's I tried to look it up before the show. So I didn't look foolish, but I guess we'll just do it. I'll do it live. Luca
Nice. I like
Guadagnino. It's a hard name, man. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm just not good at my last name's hard. So,
but it's very easy.
If you saw it spelled though, you would never guess it. Amazing director, amazing film. It's very divisive. I forgot how divisive until I started looking up after I rewatched it the other day, and I was like, oh.
If you're gonna remake Argento, and I mean old school Argento, not Phantom of the Opera Argento or Dracula Argento or even Mother of Tears Argento, but if you're gonna remake Suspiria,
this is how you do it.
Your gun fully loaded, bro, because you're gonna get a fucking pounding, man. And I don't mean the kind of pounding that I like. you better come with your guns fully loaded, man, because otherwise you deserve a beating. So, or a pounding, you know? So,
Yeah.
so actually, out of curiosity, before we jump into the world of Suspiria, which one do you like more, Argento's or the remake?
Oh, the remake, 100%. Yeah, X surprise, Sean. X surprise. We talked about this in other episodes. I have never been a big Italian horror fan, and I'm not the biggest Argento fan. And
What the fuck? Are you fucking with me? What is this? Am I on TV?
I feel like we talked a bit about this before. Yeah, it's not my thing. I'm not. I promise I'm not the guy of hot takes. I'm actually pretty neutral or in the middle when it comes to a lot of things. But I mean, in terms of foreign horror, I lean far more towards Korea, Japan, France. The Italians have never done it for me, and I gave them a chance recently. Joe Bob Briggs' last season had like 5 Italian horror flicks on it, and it's like, yeah, it's where I realized it's not my thing. But demons and zombie,
yeah,
I like those a lot.
Yeah.
I like those a lot. So let me put that out there before I get killed in the comments, because
yeah, you don't get killed right
I'm
now.
I'm going to be the villain of this episode for sure. But it is what it is. And what are you going to do? You know.
Suspiria. Let's try to find a rhyme and reason as to this episode, but I'm sure shit from the remake's going to seep in. But okay, I'll fucking start. Well, Suspiria is one of my favorite films. You know, I read some reviews in the past, you know, where people say, oh, it's not much of a script. You know, it's mostly driven by aesthetics. I agree. It is mostly driven by aesthetics. I mean, the thing that makes Suspiria, that elevates that film high and above most films that have been made in the world ever. I see that face, you motherfucker.
I was just waiting. I'm waiting. I'm like, please don't be the one.
First of all, the set design. The use of colors.
Okay. Yes, I agree.
Okay. Yeah, just look at the opening kill. You know, the 2-shot kill. You know, when the girl walks into the building, the elevator, the wide shot, the design. You know, the look of the place, the colors. Argento has a talent shooting on locations, but also creating locations that have a visual pop. And you can't have more of a visual pop in terms of sets than Suspiria. Even just the front of the school where the car rolls in, you know, you see the school, it's like, wow, visually arresting, like a fairy tale on acid. So you have that.
Okay, I like that.
Then you have Suspiria is definitely like a fairy tale. That's the way I always perceive it. It's almost like Alice in Wonderland to some degree. The second she comes out of the airport and she starts walking towards the door, and then the goblin scores, which I know you're a huge fan of.
Oh, we're gonna meet a little more in the middle.
And then bling, it goes quiet. And then the second she passes through the door, and then there's a close-up on the motor of the door, and then boom, she's into a new reality. The wind is blowing, the rain is falling. She gets in the cab, you got blue, red. I don't remember exactly how it goes, but basically transitions from her to then the lights in the tunnel. So it really is, the second she comes out of the airport, boom, she's a different world. And the way Argento communicates that through lighting, through camera work, through the set designs, is just fucking massive.
I can't argue with any of that, actually. Let me put my 2 cents in real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
On my good section, I don't think I gave it as much credit as I did when I first saw it, back in high school. But the set design is something even I was like, okay, I could be a grumpy cunt all I want, but this is good set design. Yes, the model of the school with the rain, hallway with the 2 stairs at the beginning. A lot of this is, I'm like, okay, it's clearly all made in a warehouse somewhere. I'm assuming this isn't a real place, but I agree. Every single room was like, it was weird. Everything was weird, and I was like, okay, that's cool. I appreciate the workmanship that went into that, and the style. So fairy tale is a great way to explain it. I didn't think to use that, but I mean, now that you say, I'm like, okay, that is a very fair representation.
Then there's the camera work and the shots. There's a shot. There's like a light bulb in the foreground, like on a ceiling, and the camera pans up to the light bulb, and then you see the scene to some degree through the light bulb. And then at some point the light bulb turns on, clink, and then the camera pans back down. That's what I love about Argento in general, old school Argento, because the Card Player, or the last one I saw, his last movie, what's it called? Dark Glasses. That's not the Argento I fell in love with.
Oh, the new one isn't good, huh?
No, never. No, I didn't care for it. Is that he puts the camera in places that usually people wouldn't put it. It's kind of like a wild sex romp. Your dick winds up in places that you wouldn't think it would, but you're that guy. So it's the same thing with Argento's camera. Creativeness in terms of shots. Creativeness, and I'll use a big word, but it's short, zeal. And then you have, of course, the gore, because he goes for the kill with the kills. He goes for the kill with the kills. And then top of that, fucking Goblin's music, which incidentally, which I found very interesting, was recorded before the film was shot. So basically Goblin said, "Oh, you're making a movie about the witches. Okay. All right. I don't know if they read the script or not, but they just composed it. And then Argento just put it where he felt it fit, which is the opposite way.
I can tell. I wrote it down. It is fucking clear as day that was not scored to the shots. But I don't hate the soundtrack as much as you want to try to get me killed in the beginning. So let me throw that out real quick. I don't hate the soundtrack. I don't.
Just those three things alone: set design, camera work, score. Man, go fuck yourself. We have nothing to talk about. But give me your counter. Why is Suspiria so low in your life? Why is Suspiria your bitch?
Oh, well, this is my bitch. This is the thing, man. Let's be real clear. Like, opinions are subjective, so I am not bringing this as a fact.
No,
like,
no, they're not.
I know, but
I'm right. You're wrong.
Yeah, it's not that way. It's not that way. So when I say stuff like this, Suspiria is a good example of a movie like. I respect it because I understand what it's done, the purpose it's given people, and in the complete universe of the horror genre, I understand its appeal and where it belongs. This is a clear case, and I have reasons why, which I'll get into. I don't connect with this stuff at all. Like, I see it, I'm able to objectively say that the set design is good. Like, it might not be my thing or your thing, but you can't say it's bad. It's objectively good. It's interesting and well designed. So yeah, absolutely. His camera work, you were correct. You were absolutely correct. For the most part, like, yes, it's interesting. Like the angles, the framing and the blocking. It's like I would say it was, to me, it reminded me of a play on acid. A lot of like kind of wide shots. It's not a lot of movement, but it's just more interesting placings of it. His coloring, I think, is interesting. It's a lot of primary colors. Very dreamlike, like you said, fairy tale, which I completely agree with. But the thing is not once am I ever personally connected. Like, the Goblin score is a good example of, like, I thought the music was pretty good, but holy shit, was it awkwardly placed in this entire movie. There are times where it's just like her friend, I forget her name, she's her friend that was killed in the barbed wire is in the room. It's just her like in the corner for like 60 seconds and the music's blaring, and then she goes up to the window and it just completely stops, and then the scene goes on for like 6 minutes. It's like, okay. It's not a long enough clip. They didn't place it correctly. I could just tell it was his place.
Well, so actually, I'll agree in regards to that scene. I mean, I'm not saying the movie is perfect, but to me, it is. Let me finish.
I'm not talking.
I know you want to come in.
Well, I didn't finish my thought, but yes, go.
Oh, sorry. But you talked about that scene, and that's a scene actually I did have a problem with. Because the killer is trying to remove the lock, but he's not trying really hard.
No, it's kind of cute. It's like,
yeah.
And she sits in the corner for like a minute and a half.
Yeah, and then she piles on the box and climbs up and goes through the window. And that whole bit I thought could have been shortened, and the killer, did try a little harder. So it's still a movie from 1977. And that's maybe the difference. I'm assuming maybe the difference between you and I is I take into account the year a movie was made, and also take into account that Italian horror films, for the most part, have shit dialogue. Have awkward moments. Doesn't always have the best acting, especially because usually I see them dubbed. And there are faux pas. Yes, faux pas. There are faux pas. Like that scene, or like the knife, that bothered me. I'm like, dude, just fucking, it takes 2 seconds, bro. All the good shit, the superior shit, brings it to table, makes up for these little slip ups.
But that's what I mean by, like, I could see this from afar and understand why it's important. Like, there are some more movies that I think are just stupid. I'm like, I don't like it. Like, I don't care for this movie, but I'm not dumb enough to be like, it's not good. I don't connect with it. And that's my problem. It's like, if you don't connect with it, then little stuff bothers you. You know, the stuff that you're rocking out to, like the stuff that's grabbing you, I get bored at. A cool scene is when her friend lays down, they're in like the dancing room or gymnasium, and it's all red for no reason. Yeah. And then a character lies down and the music kicks in. It's cool. But then it goes on for like fucking 8 minutes and she's just sitting there. And like, I understand that probably people are like, oh, this is intense. I'm fucking dragged in. And I'm just like, okay, so this is the verse, chorus. Okay, we're 7 choruses in. And then the person sits up and it's a scary point. So I'm saying that, like, because I'm not immediately into it, I'm almost all aware of the flaws, or the things that aren't even flaws to you, I'm getting bored at. So that's the problem with a movie like this, where I can't truly fight you. Because how about this? What doesn't work for you for the remake is what works for me, and the opposite here. So
really, and endless scenes of dance, ballet sequences. You love that.
I felt
you can't
that
get enough, right?
I felt like that movie was a room that was closing in on me little by little throughout the entire run. I was like always anxious. And that's the thing, is I could see Emily hated that fucking movie. She's like, that's the worst movie I've ever seen. And we fought for a little because I was like, no, it's great. I was like, it's a great movie. She's like, I didn't think that's great. I'm like, we fought. But because I was enthralled in the intensity of it while she was bored. And as you probably are bored out of your damn mind for those dance scenes, I'm like, it's intense, like it's close-ups, it's like real like gritty, and you're bored. So I translate that to this, where it's like, Goblin is playing a song clearly not like cut to the scene, because there's actually no like metronome rhythm, and it's cool, but then I'm immediately bored because all the scenes here go on for like 6 minutes and they should be a minute and a half. But you were probably digging it.
But it's a film from 1977. Pacing was different. The edits were different.
Sure, but
Goblin didn't compose their music to the imagery.
I know, but that's
in the edit, Mr. Argento, which I'm assuming is overseeing the edit, like any good director does, they have the choice to fade out the music. They have a choice to use a little piece here or there. So, you know, I wouldn't use that card of, oh, it wasn't composed of the thing, and that's why it is like that. No.
Then it's
it's an artistic decision. And it's also an artistic decision, motherfucker.
Fair enough. I don't agree.
Made in 1977, probably 76, because the movie came out in 77 and was probably edited and post in 76. You have to take the time in which the film was made into context.
But again, my argument here is it would work if I was drawn into the material, but I'm not. That's the thing.
How can you not be drawn into the material?
I find this movie,
the music, the sets, the aesthetics, the shots, the camera work.
I guess it's kind of boring. There's a pacing that the Italians have that I've never loved, and it has nothing to do with the 70s. Like, trust me, I like long movies. I like slow movies. I have a bunch of them. You know, people get bored. I'm just saying the Italian horror genre, and again, not all, because I'm being ignorant. I haven't seen every single one, and I challenge somebody, like, maybe I could be brought in. Maybe somebody has to find my specific entry point. But I do feel the Europeans, you know, they make movies like they have coffee. They sit there for fucking 2 hours. And maybe it's just the American me. But
you kill me, man. You kill me. You're gonna fucking bust balls about a 6-minute scene or whatever the fuck, because the Italians, they sit on him. Look, I find it funny that you talk about boredom. A movie that's 2 hours and 40 minutes long or some shit.
Hey, you probably could have trimmed up 15 minutes, if I'm being honest.
15? Dude, 15. An hour. All the political subtext was a waste of my time. I don't give a fuck. I thought it's a thing about school and witches. Next thing you know, it's got to be like connected to some political shit and bombs and what am I watching over here, man? And then the dance sequences. If I want to watch Fame, which I never do, I'll watch Fame. But no, I gotta watch this fucking shit. The plot doesn't make any fucking sense. And the best scene in the movie is when the girl gets, you know, in the Hall of Mirrors or whatever, and she gets, you know, like,
Dakota Johnson is doing her dance.
Yeah, it's just they ripped off the scene in 100 Feet by, you know, my buddy Eric Red. They just, let's rip off Eric Red.
The ending to that movie is absolutely brilliant. It goes like full David Lynch, and you got Dakota Johnson as like your mother Suspiria and whatever. And she's going in, she's fucking blowing everybody up, and she takes those girls who are fucking like basically dead zombies, but they're in pain, and she goes, "What do you wish for?" She gives them each stuff. It's fucking gorgeous. That whole last fucking 20-minute scene is just the most intense, disturbing, fucking visceral thing. But again, I get it, because you're like, this is a good example. Is what you love about the original is what I love about the remake. Essentially, we're on the same page, but in a parallel dimension. Because here's it. I figured it out. The original movie's pretentious. It is. It's very arty. It's very style, and so is this movie. But the difference is you are drawn to that sort of Italian style of European filmmaking, and I'm not. I figure I'm more into this like contemporary.
Long and boring and drab with no color and filler scenes after filler scenes.
It should have absolutely been. Well, no, if this way had any color, it'd be ridiculous. You can't do that. You have to fucking remake this in its own way. And I like that they went for no primary colors, all browns and grays. That's how you should do it.
No, I do like the fact that the only way to do a remake of Suspiria is do something completely different. In complete honesty, it was better. I saw it twice. The first time, I wanted to blow my fucking brains out. I'm like, this movie is so fucking bland and boring and flat. And yeah, there are moments where it comes alive. The shit I got to put up with in between those moments was like, jerking off with a cheese grater.
Yeah.
Not entertaining and quite painful. The second time I saw it a couple of days ago for the show, I appreciated it more. I'm not going to lie, I did. But it's still bloated, often enough incoherent. Like, it makes no fucking sense. At some point, there's a bunch of quick cuts, a bunch of weird shit. I'm like, what are you trying to tell me here? Oh, that's right. Nothing.
This movie's more about the witches, and they're slowly
pulling an A24. Fucking, you're putting your A24 card down. Hey, I'm an artist. I'm gonna put all kinds of shit that nobody knows what it means.
You gotta fucking throw down an A24. You're gonna tell me you don't like
A24, man, and fuck you.
All those movies, all of them, John. We're gonna blanket.
You want to go on the A24 train, man?
I'm just saying you're gonna. That's a blanket slate to say they're all bad. Come on, Hereditary. You don't like Hereditary?
The last act lost me.
All right, man. And then that must be the line. That's it.
Midsommar, Summer.
Yeah.
It's just a fucking boring Wicker Man ripoff. What else? What else you got?
Oh no, because that's it. We figured it out, man. I like that kind of. Horror. I like all the other kinds. So it's not like I'm not one of those people that's like only A24. It's like
you like Midsommar or whatever.
Yeah. That to me was another one where it's like they made dumb decisions in it, but I don't give a shit. I also thought Prometheus is great, and they made dumb decisions. You can sometimes. If you connect to something, I'm willing. Sure, but okay, you and me, and everybody's like, "Well, the guy walked here with the maps." I'm like, "I don't give a shit. I don't care."
No, they're stupid moves in Prometheus.
Yes, absolutely.
But the good overcomes the bad. Yeah.
But I'm saying that Midsommar has done moves, but I like that style A24 does. So I think that might be a key here because I agree that this.
I love pretentious horror. I actually do like pretentious horror.
But A24 is.
I like Argento.
Yes. Well, I love. Well, hold on. I should say this real quick. Pretentious, I don't use in a negative context, as I love pretentious. Any arty kind of thing I own. It's like fucking Dune's pretentious. That was a good movie. I know you hate the worms in the sand. We always talk about it.
I'll never watch it. The remake, I'll never watch it. Yeah.
You're just like, I'm gonna watch for fucking sand and worms.
No. Do you think I give two fucks about spices, man? Shove it up your ass, man.
When I call Argento, pretentious, I don't mean that as an insult. I actually mean it because he's, an artist. He's an absolute artist. And I will admit that right away. He's not my artist, but he is one. And so I respect him. I don't like him, but I respect him. I think that should be like where we meet in the middle here. Because I tend to like this more contemporary pretension. And you seem to like the old stuff. So we actually like the same movie, John. We just like I said, are in like different realms.
That's all I got, man. I'm out of ammo. So
how about this? Your favorite scenes in Suspiria, the OG.
Susie walks down the hallway and there's that gypsy looking woman. And that right there looks like a painting, like it's on her and then it reverses on that. And the old woman with the blonde haired boy, but that whole, push in reverse, the goblin music. And then I think she's holding like a triangle or something.
Yeah. And it lights up.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
I love that scene. Of course, the barbed wire scene, the finale where everything blows up.
The music's good in that scene.
Yeah, no, I think Suspiria is like a painting in motion with a good script. It's not a bad script.
I've never been the person that goes, "Oh, it's more visual over storytelling." It's like, well, fuck it. That some movies are meant to be like that. That's a bad argument. Some movies are meant to be a dream. There's a shot of the girl in the very beginning, but she's running the woods, and I'm assuming it's fake woods because of the way it looks, but it almost reminds me of like Tim Burton must have taken it from like Batman when Batman's driving through the woods to go to the Batcave. It has that sort of like skinny, long trees, and it's a very wide shot, and you got the light from high up. That's a very cool visual scene for sure. Her death is my favorite scene where she gets stabbed by somebody in the beginning.
I always assume that the person doing the physical, like stabbing or whatever, is that weird looking butler dude.
So is that Argento?
No.
Okay, well, it looks like Argento to me.
Okay.
But I think they look similar.
That's not Argento, dude.
I don't remember, but either way, he stabs her. She gets hung, and the glass kills her friend.
Falls in the other one, yeah.
That's a cool scene, man.
Yeah.
That's a cool fucking scene. I can't deny that. I do like when, I think it's Sarah, jumps into the razor wire, even though I didn't like the directing of it, because he lights in a way where she should be able to see the razor wire. I'm just going to say that. But her in that is awesome. Like, she's struggling, and the goblin music is fucking rocking, and it fits there. That's an intense scene. And it went on for a little long, but at least that makes sense because she's struggling, and it's meant to make.
Well, she wasn't acting, even though obviously, and that's one thing that bothered me. It was obvious that the barbed wire has no, little things to hurt you. It's just wire.
Yeah, I guess.
To me, it was obvious.
It's funny, like that bothered you, but I didn't even.
Wire without any spikes. She had to fall in, then get out. But it's a bunch of fucking like lassos.
Yeah, she gets like
she
stuck.
Literally, she wasn't acting. She's trying to get the fuck out. She kept falling back in. So they
I didn't know that.
what they had, yeah.
That's cool though, because to me it made it seem intense. Nowadays you would have like had some digital cuts and shit, but whatever. I put that as a scene that I liked, man. So those were my likes, and I think that's fair. And again, I actually had the same exact feeling that you did for the remake, where it's like I used to hate this movie, even though, like I said earlier, I respect it. I'm not the kind of guy that can't see it, but I never liked it. I felt I have a little more positive this time. I was like really, really focused on like the set designs and like his shot compositions.
Did Emily watch the original?
No.
Oh, too bad.
But I mean, she hated the fuck out of the remake to the point where statistically she has to like it because she was angry. It was a big thing, man. We don't usually fight on movies, but yeah, she was like, that was terrible. And I thought of you. I was like, yeah, that's probably what John would say.
Yeah, it's the remake has its head really far up its own ass. So far up its own ass that it's not taking into account focus and pacing. And that's really my main problem with it. Give me the remake. Put me in an editing room. I'll bring out a movie I like out of it. The footage is there. No, the footage, they have the coverage. They have what they need.
I said you could cut out 20 minutes.
Last 20 minutes. The thing is...
the last 20 is the epilogue. That didn't need to be there, actually. I'm going to say that. So.
Oh, you mean after the whole bunch
It should have ended when we find out that Dakota Johnson is Mother Suspiria or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
That would be the perfect ending. Like, though I understand why they gave closure to the Holocaust survivor. It makes sense, but it's one of those, like, you got to realize, like,
Tilda Swinton, Tilda.
Yeah, Tilda
as a man,
fucking awesome. Yeah, well, because she's amazing and she should be in everything. I put her in everything.
They pull a nutty professor, man?
Well, she's 3 roles. She's also the big blob.
Yeah, she's the big blob chick with the sunglasses. Yeah,
I think because if you got
that's fine, but why make her a man? Why not just hire a man?
Maybe it gives Tilda Swinton some extra work. I don't know. Maybe she gets like more of the back end.
All I saw was a chick made to look like a man, so I had a hard time getting into that subplot because
but that's
obvious that's not a dude.
But here's the thing. My fight is I like the subplot, but if you're truly talking about editing a movie, you probably could cut a lot of that out. Even though I understand.
No, I can't.
I'm being sarcastic, John. I'm just saying I liked it, but I understand that if you didn't, you'd be like, why the fuck are we going back to this old man? So that's another good example of like, I get it, but I was kind of connected to that. I was like, oh, this poor old guy, like, that loves his fucking wife, that lost her during the war.
I don't give a fuck. I'm watching a movie about witches in a school, dude. I give 2 flying fucks about a guy and his fucking wife in the war and everything. What do I mean,
because he's directly tied to the story and all the information. Like, he's the reason why, he's the reason why we get into this. So he's the sort of the narrative in now. But now what you're saying is we don't need him. And that's probably pretty fair. We could just start with Dakota Johnson and go from there. But I don't hate it as much as you do. Because I kind of like
she's smoking.
Yeah, I know. She's a great looking, man. I was like, I never thought of her as that way. I just
need a bit more meat on the bones, just for me, my preference. But she's still a very attractive young lady.
Great.
And then again, she's the child of Don Johnson, a great looking man, and Melanie Griffith, who in her prime was like, forget about it. So
good genes. Yeah. Well, she knocked to the park. Let's just say that.
There's never been a movie like Suspiria before, and there's never been a movie like Suspiria since. In my opinion, obviously. It's a beast on its own. It's like a Mona Lisa. You can't reproduce it. Suspiria for me is just a masterpiece, man.
I met a guy once who didn't like Escape from New York and The Thing, and I was like, I get it, but we don't agree now. We don't agree on like some fundamentals of life. And so I bring this up to you because it's the truth. You know, I've never cared for Argento, but I respect him and I get why you do it. But man, it's not my bag. It's just not my bag.
But I will say this. No, I want to do a modern day Giallo, and that's it. A real Giallo, not a creature feature or anything like that. It's nice to feel inspired again. You know, I'm happy and I'm feeling stimulated. So I'm like, you know what? The Giallos, you know, with fancy camera work and extreme gore and extreme nudity, no worries. I'll have dudes in there too, just for, you know, ladies and everybody else. No worries. It fits with the kind of person I am. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, bro, before we go on, a friend of mine, Joe Cornet, director, writer, I actually acted in 2 of his Westerns with Alexander Nevsky. He's about to do a horror movie called, actually, he did a horror movie called Night of the Caregiver, which I was told is Giallo influence. So how about we put a pause on our talk, get him on, and see what he has to say. What do you think?
All right, let's do it, man.
And here we are with Mr. Joe Cornet. How you doing, Joe?
Hello, John. How are you? I'm doing fine. Thank you.
And you've been a very busy man. I mean, you shot, I mean, over the course of like 2 years, or even maybe even 1 year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you shot.
Well, it goes over the course of almost 2 years. We've shot 3 features, and then the 2.5 years prior to that, I shot 3 other features. Before that,
2 of your films, 2 action westerns, I actually had small roles in. So just
no role is small, John.
Only small actors.
Yes. In fact, your character, the audience won't forget you, as I will reveal it. Samuel the Undertaker in Gunfight at Rio Bravo, which will be released January the 13th, limited, and then worldwide January the 17th. And its sequel, Taken from Rio Bravo. And currently, we are in the process of working on the last part of the trilogy, which at the moment is The Last Heroes of Rio Bravo.
Well, you know, we reached out to you because we're doing a show right now about Dario Argento and Suspiria. A mutual friend of ours, Mr. Alexander Nevsky, told me that your next film, which is your first horror picture, was inspired by Argento, that you have an affinity for the Giallo genre and Argento's work. How deep are you into Argento, like as a film fan, if you will?
Well, I love Argento because his films, for me, they're in a whole different world. It's not a real world. It's a dreamlike world. It's a nightmare world. It's definitely an alternate universe somewhere. The action, the plots, the characters and everything are like out of something, like I say, something otherworldly almost. And he has this tone, this atmosphere in his films that just, I can't really describe it. You just know it when you're watching an Argento film. And Argento is very interesting because if you consider where this gentleman came from, he was he did film reviews in the late 60s, and somehow he ended up co-writing with Sergio Leone Once Upon a Time in the West.
Yes,
probably one of my favorite films of all time. And to go from there, which also had its odd otherworldly quality about it, but then to transition into what was it, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage and Cat o' Nine Tails, which were both just amazing movies. And he was great for choosing actors that you wouldn't normally think of. You know, you think of James Franciscus, who was a great actor, but James Franciscus is so strong in Cat o' Nine Tails. And you have Carl Malden, who plays the blind character. And the dynamic between the two of them is very interesting. And then, of course, when he got involved with Daria, who was his muse and leading lady, became very interesting. And she had this otherworldly look to her, you know? And I think another great piece of casting was John Saxon. He tended to use him a
Tenebrae.
couple of times. Tenebrae. And Tenebrae, I'm sorry, but the actor's name, Tony Franciosa.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Who is not somebody that is like a go-to horror guy. And yet his role is so amazing in that, particularly at the end, which I won't reveal.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
But it just great stuff.
How your love of Argento, because thus far, correct me if I'm wrong, you've only directed Westerns.
That's true. I mean, I have, if you dive deeply into my past, you'll find one sort of thriller / horror film that I did some years ago. But it didn't really get widely released.
Okay.
You know, so I had dabbled in this, but yes, this is my first professional feature-length horror film.
In terms of Night of the Caregiver, first and foremost, what was it that made you want to dive into a horror film like this?
My executive producer and producing partner and co-star, Alexander Nevsky, approached me with a script that had been written by the great Craig Hammond, who wrote both of the Westerns that you're in, John. He said, how would you feel about doing a horror film? And I was a little reluctant at first because, you know, there's so much in that genre. I didn't know that there was anything more that could be done that would really be kind of unique. And I waited for a moment to hear, okay, are there zombies in it? Because everything has zombies. And he said, no, there's no zombies. In fact, it's more of a story of the paranormal. And I said, okay. And I read it and I was instantly hooked by it. And it's written like sort of it has touches of The Exorcist in it. And it has touches definitely of Argento, some minor Hitchcockian style elements. It basically is a very good classic tale of the paranormal or the supernatural, but not anything hokey. And so it hooked me. And Alexander then said, you know, can you tap into the style of something like Dario Argento? And I said, yeah, I can definitely do that. It's sort of more of a thriller in the first half. And then when suddenly it's revealed what is going on with this supernatural phenomenon, then it kind of turns very horror genre. And it appealed to me, and it was very interesting, and it was very classy and classic, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
You know, I like stepping into new zones. And this one, because of what the story was, it just caught me immediately. And I began to start thinking, okay, where can we film this? How can we film this? And, you know, when I get hooked into something, this is a little secret. When I get into a script, I start listening to music. And in fact, right behind me here, I have rows of, you can't see them, but maybe if I lean the camera down, you could kind of see them.
A lot of records.
Rows. I got more in the other room, and I have a massive vinyl collection, much of which is movie soundtracks. And I'll go through these things and I'll think, okay, let's put on some Bernard Herrmann and reread the script and make some notes. Let's put on some John Carpenter music and reread the script and make notes. You know, so I'll do funny little things like that, which help me to get the vision of what I want. So when I walk on that set, it's already right up here if it's not on a you know, boards.
Yeah. You know, giallos, especially Argento's giallos, are known for their elaborate set pieces, especially when it comes to their kills. Really long takes, inventive, unique angles. Can we expect some of that in Night of the Caregiver?
We have some of that, and I've adjusted it appropriately so that it doesn't look too much like, you know, we're just trying to do a straight rip off of Argento's.
No, that's De Palma's job. That's De Palma's job.
Oh,
Yeah.
Come on, Dress to Kill is
just, you know, I wanted to know if Argento didn't phantom direct that or something.
I
It's so Argento.
And when can we expect to see the picture? Any word on the release?
I don't have a definitive date yet, but it will be sometime in early 2023.
That's good.
I mean, our focus right now is to get Gunfight at Rio Bravo out first, which is January, and then in the following month or two, we'll have probably the release date. Then I'll know the exact release date within this next few weeks or next month, I think.
Yeah. The next movie in the pipeline, which is the word I can now pronounce, Lance.
Kaleidoscope. Kaleidoscope. Yes.
Thank you.
I just happen to have the script here.
Oh, there you go. That word.
And
Sorry,
it's been well thumbed through and annotated. Yes, Kaleidoscope is the next one up for production, and it stars the great. Well, I think I could say this. Bai Ling.
yes.
And
Yeah.
we have a few other surprises in cast announcements, which are forthcoming, and I'm quite excited for this one because I wrote this script, I think, in 2014.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
And I actually went so far as to try to put it together. And I actually filmed quite a bit of it, actually,
Really?
back in that same year. But as with many, filmmakers who are of, a certain level, sometimes things get together, sometimes they
Mhm.
fall apart. And so it just kind of languished, and the script sat in a drawer here for a number of years. And then last year sometime, I'd been working with another writer who's from Australia named Kent Hill. I think you know Kent.
It sounds familiar, actually.
And he's a good guy, fine writer. And he and I had been tweaking some scripts that I had written just for fun, and he had a bunch of other scripts. And I had this thing, and I had lost the original digital copy to history.
Mm.
All I had were two paper copies. So I sent him one, which he acknowledged 2 weeks later when he got it at his home. He said, "This is the first paper script I've received in over 10 or 15 years." He said it was kind of exciting. So he worked on nipping and tucking it and bringing it a little bit more together. And we worked on it actually together as well. And it resulted in several drafts until we were happy with it. And I had no idea that this was going to be the next one up. And Alexander and I were talking at one of our regular meetings, and I happened to mention this, and he said, "What is this about?" And I told him, and he said, "Give me the script." And he read it, and he saw the potential in it, and so here we are. So we'll probably start production sometime early in the next year. It's set in the 1960s.
Oh,
And
that's
I
cool.
did that.
Okay.
I did that for a very specific reason, and I'll tell you in a moment. But it's set in the 1960s, and it's about this mysterious woman, very beautiful woman, who seemingly there's something not quite right with her identity. Is she really who she's saying she is? Is she really from where she says she's from? And what is it she's doing here in Los Angeles in 1967? But I like the idea of doing period pieces because you don't have easy fallbacks. In other words, cell phones are everywhere. And you always see them in films. I mean, they've even James Bond is always on a cell phone or on a device, And my thing was, well, if you're going to do a film about mistaken or confused backgrounds and identities or false identities, wouldn't it be interesting to set it in an era in which it was not easy to vet these kinds of things?
Yeah, there's no tools. Yeah.
If you gave me a fake background and I just were to Google you, I could find out probably everything about you in 5 minutes.
Just a picture, you could find out.
Yeah. But in those days, it was very difficult. People were sometimes not who they claimed to be, and that's the whole basis for this story of Kaleidoscope.
Well, Joe, Night the Caregiver sounds really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm sure our viewers are too. So I'll keep my finger on the pulse as to its release. And the movie, which the title I cannot pronounce. Lance, please.
Kaleidoscope.
Yeah,
Kaleidoscope.
that picture
Yes.
actually has me really intrigued. The fact that it's a thriller, the fact that it's based in the 60s, and the fact that it was to some degree inspired by a little piece of Hitchcock. I think that's a thing of beauty.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, look, thanks for popping by and giving us your 2 cents and talking about your projects. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate your support as always. I mean, you guys have been very good to Alexander Nevsky and myself, and we both appreciate that, and thank you.
Oh, that was nice of Joe to stop by, and we'll make sure to keep you guys updated on Night of the Caregiver and the movie, which the name I cannot pronounce.
Kaleidoscope.
So that's it, I guess, right? So what? I go another week, Thanksgiving in a couple of days. So
This will be our post-Thanksgiving episode. So enjoy your time if you're going out. If not, enjoy your time by yourself, friends, family, or alone. Fuck it. Live life.
there you go. There you go. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for sticking by us. I'm actually really curious as to the comments, to be honest, because I have a feeling it'll be a mix of both. I think.
No.
You
No.
don't think so?
No. Everybody's gonna love the original. No, I'll have one comment, and I'm gonna be like, "Hey, fuck, thank you, man."
I disagree.
I will
But
see.
we'll see. We'll see. Lance and I are trying to kind of build up our interaction with you
Yes.
all.
Questions.
So, yeah, questions. So if you have questions for me or for Lance, I don't know, man, about anything really, ask and we shall answer.
I guess because we don't really talk about what we do until last minute. Until next time, buddy. I don't know what we're going to review, but it won't be Italian.
No, it won't be Italian. You got to teach me how to make that fucking Chicago pizza, bro.
I will give you a starter recipe, but I will never give you my recipe.
That's fine. Give me a starter recipe. I'll make my own.
Yeah, try it. You need the water though. That's something I've learned out here.
All right.
Yeah, water matters a lot. But all
Good
right, buddy, and to all of our friends,
Yeah.
really appreciate you guys always stopping by. Comment, John said earlier, Team Lance or Team John, probably Team John, because I know where I stand. But that one guy who was with me, I support you.
Cheers, everybody. Have a good one.